Hello, my name is Angelidakis, and I'm here to talk about my work and probably in relation to Second Life. And since this is recorded for the Nuit Blanche, I thought I would do it at night and kind of with a dark background. I think first of all, we really have to speak about how bad is Second Life. Just yesterday I was trying to put online the building that's going to be presented during the Nuit Blanche, and I realized that I had lost the staircase from the database. The program of Second Life just lost me a staircase, and I also lost a few other buildings from the inventory. And I think it's crazy, for a place that has so much publicity, they just can't get it right, they can't get it to work. But anyway, I think that's always the story with these online communities, with these virtual worlds. They just never work. You just lose your work so often. Even the first world that we ever did, which was about 40 buildings, it was called Chelsea World, and it was eventually all lost. I think it was the first lost world of the internet, kind of Atlantis. Back in 1998, so almost 10 years ago, that's a long time. And the first world was that I worked on was Chelsea. And this was a world that we did together with Meltos Manetas. It started as Meltos asking me to make a space in Active Worlds that would be a copy of his exhibition in New York. And so it was just so much fun doing buildings online that we just decided to create a world for art and architecture. And it was, the late 90s was kind of the boom for the internet. Everybody was becoming rich. So we thought we're going to do a business and we're going to start renting it to museums and galleries and, do a kind of internet startup. And of course the internet collapsed and we didn't, never made any money. But we really, I think for me it was a great learning experience doing buildings online, because I think the avatars are different from humans. The avatars really get bored very fast if you do kind of very complicated building and you try to explain a complicated concept like architects, have learned to do always. The avatar will just click away and say bye-bye, sorry, I'm bored, And also when you're explaining your work online, you usually do it in a kind of chat room, so you have to type everything. So every concept has to be very quick. And this kind of short attention span and abbreviated way of communication, this became a kind of paradigm shift for the kind of work we create based on the internet, So I started playing around with buildings that were much more simple and direct, almost like trying to make buildings look like logos for companies. So it's like a simple form or that stands out, that kind of screams at you, that you remember, but also has the ability to stay in your memory a little bit. So it's like something simple and also stays in your mind. And I think that kind of produced buildings that you could describe in one sentence. Let's say the pink building or the shadow building or the diagonal building. So this kind of gradually and very naturally started to affect my work. Also, another important aspect was that the design tools in these worlds were very, very simple. You always worked with these primitives, you could make boxes and spheres and pyramids, and you would repeat those elements, or you would repeat elements that you would find in ready-made libraries, and then you would make your own building from that, a kind of a copy-paste architecture. And that started to affect my work a lot. Also the fact that I was spending, way too much time online and just really becoming addicted to chatting and whatever, lost on the internet, you know. So anyway, Chelsea World, even though it wasn't really successful as a business, it was really successful in teaching us what the internet was, which was what about, I mean, at that point the internet was all about making money, and in fact we're just giving away everything. We would make small studios and give them to our friends so they could be with us online. We would make buildings for exhibitions like Manifesta, this and that, and we would try to put them online, you know. But of course the art world was very slow in understanding the internet. I think they still don't get it, or they don't want to get it. So it was really kind of pioneer Wild West moment. And our collaborator at some point decided to stop paying the rent for the server, so we lost the entire Chelsea World. Like I think about 60 buildings were lost just because like somebody decided to stop paying, you know, the hosting. So this started this kind of ongoing history of losing your buildings online. Later on, we, again together with Miltos, who was a kind of the propaganda machine behind these things, or the initiator, he asked me to make a world for the people of Nîmes, the Nîmesters and stars, to make a place for them online, you know, a world where they could hang out and chat and meet. It was like a public space. And now I had kind of learned the lessons of internet, so I was really free to test all these ideas, and I started making each work like a portrait of the artist. I made a little village of houses, each one a kind of logo for the artist. I made some other more public buildings, and I was trying to create an architecture that the avatars would enjoy. So, for example, the Blue Wave was a kind of curved ramp building, a bit inspired by skateboard ramps, and also by this kind of cartoon wave. Avatars really enjoyed walking on these. Nîmes World really became a sketchbook for me, kind of testing all my ideas online. And I think what's interesting with building on the internet is that while you're making something, while you're designing, let's say, online, people can come in and visit your building. So I think the process of designing and constructing is just really becomes one thing, you know, and criticizing becomes one thing. And they say, oh, it's nice or it's not nice. So as you're designing it and building it together, you also change it. And it's a very kind of interactive process for design. I think that's really great. Well, obviously, again, in World, we lost everything, but this time, because again, we lost the password to pay the people to keep the server going forever, and it was a bit too expensive also. So, but this time I had really kind of prepared, and I was backing up everything, and I really wanted to keep working on Nîmes World after it was dead, almost like an internet ghost. And since this was my sketchbook, a lot of projects that were, let's say, non-virtual came out of it. And I think it's still something that's going on. It was an ongoing experiment, really, on testing these ideas of the internet. That would work perfectly if Second Life worked perfectly and you didn't lose your buildings, just by accident. Thank you.